absence. He shot a piercing look at Finn, a silent challenge. Finn merely offered his most sincere, non-committal expression. Indeed, sir, a truly unfortunate turn of events. He was, if I may say so, quite colorful in his incapacitation. Sir, a veritable chameleon of disease. Jawbreaker ignored the subtle jab. He pushed open the flimsy screen door of the infirmary, which immediately slammed shut behind them with a clatter. The interior was dimly lit, permeated by the sharp, medicinal tang of iodine and the cloying sweetness of stale pineapple from Bumble's Impromptu. Sickbay bar, on a narrow cot, dramatically lit by a single, unshaded bulb, lay Commodore Bumble, his face a ghastly shade of pallor, achieved with thin coating of zinc oxide, Finn suspected. His breathing shallow and labored, punctuated by exaggerated coughs. Myrtle, Bumble's trembling aide, hovered nervously at his side, holding a glass of murky liquid, which Bumble had insisted was tonic. "Well, Bumbleton, sorry to see you laid up like this," Jawbreaker stated. His voice as flat and unfeeling as a gravestone. His eyes, however, missed nothing, taking in the carefully scattered medicine bottles, all empty or filled with sugar pills. The theatrical lighting and the overall ambience of feigned misery. He approached the cot slowly, Kreider diligently taking notes behind him. Bumble, with a heroic effort, opened his eyes, which were half closed in a theatrical droop, and managed a weak, pained smile. "Thank you very much, Admiral, but I'm all right, sir. Really I am. Just a fleeting encounter with the Grim Reaper, sir. A momentary flirtation with the great beyond." His voice was raspy, thin, but possessed an underlying note of eager desperation. He then, with a barely perceptible flick of his eyes, a tiny, almost invisible movement, gestured toward the vicinity of Finn's office, and more specifically, the air raid shelter. "Admiral, please. For my sake, sir, for the sake of naval honor, you've got to go right over to the air raid shelter. Admiral, before it's too late. You won't believe what's going on over there while I'm over here at death's door, suffering the slings and arrows of a contagious malady." His voice cracked with theatrical urgency, betraying his real intent. Finn McGinty, who had dutifully followed Jawbreaker into the infirmary, quickly interjected, trying to control the unfolding narrative, to prevent the trap from springing too early. "I'm sure the Admiral has seen 100 air raid shelters like ours, sir. Frankly, Commodore, they're quite dull, really nothing fancy. Sir, just plain concrete and a few dusty hammocks. Completely uninteresting, not a speck of intrigue, sir. I can vouch for a profound boringness, sir." Myrtle, still flustered from previous encounters with Bumble's histrionics and terrified of Jawbreakers, legendary glare, nodded vigorously, almost dropping the bedpan he was still polishing. "Yeah, no, not even carpet, sir. Bare walls. Very stark. Sir, very utilitarian. A veritable shrine to monotony." Bumble, enraged by Finn's blatant damage control, his theatrical pallor deepening into a shade of alarming puce, bellowed, suddenly regaining the full force of his voice, startling Jawbreaker slightly. "Tell him what you do have over there, McGinty. Confess your crimes. Lay bare your monstrous transgressions, you scoundrel." Finn, maintaining a placid, innocent expression, blinked slowly, playing the role of the utterly perplexed subordinate. "Sir, I'm afraid I don't follow. Commodore, are we speaking in riddles now, sir? They got hula girls in the air raid shelter at this very minute Admiral." Bumble shrieked, dramatically throwing an arm across his forehead, as if struck by a sudden, violent headache, clutching his temples. "Half-dressed hula girls. McGinty, hula, you scoundrel. Girls who are dancing. Oh, the infamy, Admiral, the utter, unbridled infamy of it all. Such a flagrant disregard for moral probity and naval regulations." Jawbreaker, however, merely looked at Finn, then back at Bumble, a flicker of something unreadable, amusement, exasperation, in his steely eyes. He turned to Lieutenant Kreider, his aide, who was dutifully scribbling every word. "He's delirious, sir," Finn calmly explained, stepping forward, his voice a soothing, professional balm, though his heart was hammering against his ribs. A common symptom of tropical fever, Admiral. They often experience vivid hallucinations. The heat, the stress of command, it does terrible things to the mind, sir. I'll get a doctor, Admiral, to corroborate his unfortunate mental state, to confirm his transient, feverish madness. He began to back away slowly towards the door, hoping to create a discreet exit. Bumble, however, was far from delirious enough to miss Finn's escape attempt. He roared, suddenly leaping from the bed with astonishing alacrity, shedding his blanket like a discarded cocoon, revealing his sweat-soaked, rumpled pajamas, completely forgetting his feigned invalid status. "Don't you try to weasel out of this, McGinty. Don't you dare, you slippery eel. We saw him with our own eyes, didn't we, Lieutenant Kreider? He's clearly trying to cover up his monstrous transgression. A deliberate act of moral depravity orchestrated for my downfall." He then pointed a trembling, accusatory finger directly at Kreider. "Oh, you're right. Lieutenant, this insubordination is absolutely disgraceful. You simply must see what's going on out there, sir. It is beyond belief. A blight on the naval record. Jawbreaker, with a sigh that seemed to carry the weight of all naval frustrations from Trafalgar to Pearl Harbor, finally turned to Bumble, his expression a mixture of profound weariness and deep disappointment. "Bumbleton, get back in bed before you catch pneumonia. You are clearly in no condition to be conducting impromptu investigations, much less shouting about imaginary dancers. Here, I'll get your robes. Man, and take one of these. You're clearly in a state of extreme agitation and potential delirium." He picked up Bumble's ever-present antacid bottle, which Bumble had accidentally knocked over. "No, no, no, no. No, 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 no." Bumble protested, flailing wildly, trying to evade Jawbreaker's attempts to force him back to bed, dodging like a drunken matador. "Captain, I'd like an explanation from you, McGinty, and it better be good. An exceptionally convincing alibi. I would shoot and we would keep off. Jawbreaker, get off me, sir, and get those girls out of the air raid shelter fast." He whispered fiercely to Finn, trying to regain control of his faculties and his plan, his voice hoarse with a mixture of terror and desperation. Just then, Lieutenant Nurse Amelia Wilson, looking perfectly professional and utterly fed up with the entire charade, emerged from the infirmary closet, where she had been forced to take refuge from Bumble's initial panic. She held a spare, crisply ironed uniform, perhaps for Bumble himself, and a look of profound exasperation on her face. "Hey, Admiral," she said, her voice weary but firm. "You forgot your orders, sir." She held out a set of Bumble's embroidered epaulets, now detached from his frenzied grappling, which he had picked up from the floor. Yeah, Mr. Plimpton, get the ladies back in their designated quarters immediately, and then return those items to the nurses." Jawbreaker, turning back, snapped, his patience stretched thinner than an overworked sailor's nerves. "Well, Captain, I'm waiting for the explanation, Bumbleton. A plausible, verifiable explanation, if you please." Bumble, seeing his opportunity, pointed an accusing, trembling finger at Finn. "Yes, sir, but you see, Admiral, they were he did it. He is the culprit. Yeah, he's a terrible person. Admiral, a reprobate, a libertine. He's always sneaking women around and shoving them in places, especially hula girls. The shame of it all. Oh, the hula girls." Finn, maintaining his innocent demeanor with a remarkable poker face, retorted, "Me, sir? But, sir, you know I'm a paragon of rectitude. Sir, a man of unblemished character." "All right, stop it, both of you," Jawbreaker roared, his voice cutting to the bickering like a torpedo through butter. His patience had finally snapped. Is this a naval base or a madhouse?